When thinking about the purpose of life, what initially comes up? To find love, to find yourself, to grow as a person? No matter who you ask, for the most part, all of their answers will be different. Now, this isn't about finding the purpose of life or claiming to know it. Rather, it's about the purpose of society. Why does it feel like the only purpose of society here in the US is to make money, to spend money? And it all ties back to what people value. It feels like our society values the perception of money and how it makes them look more than what the money can actually do for them. Or more importantly, what it can do for other people. They value how it makes them look because they want to be perceived a certain way. According to Yahoo Finance, 57% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, which means 57% of Americans don't get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Now, you've probably heard the story of the fisherman and the businessman, but if not, here it is. There was once a businessman who was sitting by the beach in a small Brazilian village. And as he sat, he saw a Brazilian fisherman rowing a small boat towards the shore, having caught quite a few big fish. Now, the businessman was impressed, and he asked the fisherman, "How long does it take you to catch so many fish?" The fisherman replied, "Oh, just a short while." "Then why don't you stay longer at sea and catch even more?" The businessman was astonished. "This is enough to feed my whole family," the fisherman said. The businessman then asked, "So what do you do for the rest of the day?" The fisherman replied, "Well, I usually wake up in the morning, go out to sea, catch a few fish, then I go back and play with my kids, and in the afternoon I take a nap with my wife, and then evening comes, I join my buddies in the village for a drink, we play guitar, sing and dance throughout the night." The businessman offered a suggestion to the fisherman. "I have a PhD in business management. I could help you to become a more successful person. From now on, you should spend more time at sea and try to catch as many fish as possible. And when you've saved up enough money, you could buy a bigger boat and catch even more fish. And soon you'll be able to afford a whole fleet of boats. Set up your own company, your own production plant for canned food and distribution network. By then, you will have moved out of this village into Sao Paulo, where you can set up your headquarters to manage your other branches." The fisherman continues, "And after that?" The businessman laughs heartily. "And after that, you can live like a king in your own house. And when the time is right, you can go public and float your shares in the stock exchange, and you will be rich." The fisherman asks, "And after that?" The businessman says, "And after that, you can finally retire. You can move to a house by the fishing village, wake up early in the morning, catch a few fish, then return home to play with the kids. Have a nice afternoon nap with your wife, and when evening comes, you can join your buddies for a drink, play the guitar, and sing and dance throughout the night." The fisherman was puzzled. "Isn't that what I'm doing right now?" Now, for me, this sums it up perfectly. What are you working for? What do you truly value? Now, depending on what you value, the businessman might not sound that bad to you. The fisherman values his time and being present in the moment, which is why it doesn't make sense to him to waste all that time gaining financial success in order to settle down and be with his family. He'd rather sacrifice that so-called financial success for the wealth of having time with his family and being present with them. So sure, you can work your ass off, and 40 years from now you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, but was it really worth those years? Does the number in your bank account really matter that much to you? That you'd rather waste your most valuable possession of all? You're trading days off of your life for a number in your bank account. What you're essentially doing is a transfer of wealth, one type of currency for another. Now I want to do a little visual demonstration for you guys. The average lifespan of a male is 75 years. Now let's use the example of a 25-year-old male. That would mean that he has 50 years of life left. And 50 years converted into days is 18,250 days. Now I wanted to give you a visual representation of what this looks like. Here's an average Minecraft village, so you can see how big this is. Now 18,250 days is the size of this whole rectangle right here. And now you can see over there the village for size reference. This thing is absolutely massive. It's huge. And that gold section up there at the top represents 1 year of your life. 365 days. Now again, I don't know if this puts it into reference, but this is absolutely huge. Now, if you plan to work your whole life and retire at 65 like you're supposed to, that means that you would have worked for 40 years. 65 minus 25 equals 40. Now, there are about 250 work days in a year after accounting for weekends and holidays, which 40 times 250 equals 10,000. So you can subtract 10,000 days from your total of 18,250 days left in your life, which only leaves you with 8,250. Now let me show you what that looks like visually. Boom. Say goodbye to all those days. Those are all gone to work. But you can't forget about eating, sleeping, and other necessities, which after you account for all of that, you only have 12 usable hours a day, which means that 8,250 actually only leaves you with 4,125 days left after retirement. Again, let me show you what that looks like visually. Boom, goodbye. This is all the time you have left to actually enjoy the fruits of your labor after you retire. Now, if you're anything like me, that just doesn't make sense. That can't be right. Only 4,125 days left? You're telling me you have to work the majority of your life to only have 4,000 days left to live without working? Is that number in the bank account really worth over half of your life? And why do people work to retire? To settle down and enjoy time with their family? Keyword there, enjoy time with their family. You're trading time to get time. That just doesn't make sense to me. I value my time. I'd rather be broke and have all the time in the world like the fisherman than be rich and exhausted at 50 because I wasted the best years of my life in pursuit of what I already had, time. You see, you've all probably seen the University of Hard Knocks on TikTok or Instagram, where he interviews millionaires and billionaires. And something that's always stood out to me was the amount of time old rich people said they would rather trade all the money in the world to be right where we are, to be young again, and have all the time in the world. To me, it almost feels like a confession that they would have preferred to be the fisherman than the businessman. Now, my point isn't to say that money's bad. Rather, it's to have you reflect and ask yourself what you value more and what's currently taking the priority. Because unfortunately, at the end of the day, there is no escaping the matrix here in the US. Everything costs something. You need to work to make money no matter what because it costs just to live here. The point is to gain clarity on what it is you actually want. For example, if all you want is to surf, you don't need $1 million in 40 years of your life to do that. You just need a board and a beach. That's it. Stop working towards the life you could already be living. Now, if you're still watching this and you're in the age range of who I'm talking about, I want you to walk away with this. You're currently in the possession of the most sought-after asset of all time. You're in possession of something money cannot buy. You still have your youth. You have 18,250 days left. The fisherman already knew what to do with his. Do you?